We're going to talk about Monday, Newsday, Ukraine drone strike, woke 1.0 versus 2.0. Public enemy number one. Still giving aneurysms to MSM. Wisco governor race tomorrow. Florida coming up. Noah Colwyn here. Get in now. Twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Blast off meme. Condom hummus. Okay, we got a condom hummus. Do we have anything else? What the hell? Bro, I said, give me a blast off meme, and you sent me a photo of Jeffrey Epstein and Austin shredded. What the hell is wrong with you, man? That's insane. No, I will not be putting that. Okay, the Pokemon one is good. Stop. Is it news time, newsman? Yeah, get to the news, newsboy, they say. Well, fear not. The news is here. The news is here. I think I'm about to my involvement with political campaigns has actually created a very funny, very unique media environment. I will say this. I never thought that it would get to a point where like there is legitimately something. There is legitimately something going on where whenever people encounter what I'm doing with like the most negatively framed clips, okay, people for some very strange reason they don't have like a normal reaction. They don't just look at it and go, yeah, I disagree with this guy, but it's clear that like, you know, he's captivating the attention of the, you know, disaffected, disillusioned masses or anything like that. As an Iranian telling you, go to hell, motherfucker, you are terrorists for sure. Yo, anti-white racist trash, careful out there. What's going on, man? This is just as I said, there's just something that happens to the minds of people where they cannot see me as like a normal person. Immediately people jump to say it, like to prove the point. I find it very odd. Like people will be like, you want to like end the white race, right? Like there's people who legitimately and sincerely think I want to like end the white race through the consensual act of miscegenation, which is like inherently a white supremacist position, but a lot of people I think either don't reckon with that reality at all, or maybe at this point they do realize it, but they just openly identify as white supremacists. I don't know where the white supremacists are at. I don't know where they're at. But I think I'm a pretty chill guy. You know? I'm a pretty chill dude, I think. I like to think of myself that way. You know? I am the real Shah of Iran, big dog, alongside Patrick Bet Davido. I'd say you like pool parties, Law. Yeah, I mean, I'm chill. I like a nice Maoist pool party. You know what I'm saying? I like to attend a nice Maoist pool party. Not a normal one, but a Maoist one. Real talk, your Carvel might be better than your PBD. The suit does not give chiller vibes. Yeah, I like to do a Maoist pool party every now and then where we do a land acknowledgement and, you know, the cocktails are actually woke somehow. You know, we're making sure the cocktails are appropriately themed. You know, gender non-conforming martinis, stuff like that. Yeah, woke tales. But I don't know. I just find it so strange. I just find it so motherfucking strange that people just doing it. People behaving. No shots at the Maoist pool party? Yeah. Yeah, Maoist pool party, you know, we do a little bit of self-crit. Obviously, there's a struggle session podium there as well for people who have engaged in counter-revolutionary rightist behavior. You know how it is. Yeah. Bartender, please make me a consensual sex on the beach. Yeah, that type of shit. That's the timing we're on. You know? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Just voted for Mr. Oliver Larkin. Hell yeah. Early voting started in Florida. Remember, Oliver Larkin for Florida 25. Elijah Manley for Florida 20. Angie Nixon as well. We got a Florida slate, and they're fantastic. But do we get canceled now? We say woke and gay. First of all, I've been saying it, and I'm never going to stop. Like, I didn't stop being who I was during the peak of woke 1.0, right? With call out culture, cancel culture, that certainly was like super aggro. But I didn't stop being progressive either, right? Like, there's always going to be excesses. I'm just the guy who is progressive, cares about these things, but also, you know, wants to have fun and sometimes recognizes that it gets a little out of hand. But I don't think it's the end of the world, and it's certainly preferable to the neo-Nazi nonsense that we got going on right now. So that's my attitude. We'll get to that. We'll get to woke 1.0 versus woke 2.0. You need to legitimately do some sort of public campaign of these new channels to actually bring you on, increase the contradiction and the pressure. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think the news channels are going to have me on because they have access. They have access to my line, you know. They got my phone number. They could ask me on. They just choose not to on purpose because I think there's a couple executives that think it's more beneficial to disparage than to, in their minds, platform, right? You talk about 2020 like it was the Cultural Revolution. No, of course not. No, don't be ridiculous. I'm just saying it was like kind of annoying at times. That's it. We're very privileged people. We're very, very privileged people here in the United States of America. We're in the heart of empire. So like, at most, the excesses are going to be quote unquote social crimes or social excesses. It's never anything like material. This is an unbelievably reactionary country at the end of the day. Our systems are very far to the right, you know, whether it be unexamined whether it be unexamined white supremacy in our institutions or, you know, the draconian attitude that every American has towards the carceral state, towards crime and punishment. It's just, you know, I'm specifically talking about America shit, first world problems. This is a first world problem situation. This is not like anything material. At most, it just creates some kind of, I guess, quote unquote backlash or a negative response, right? It is really funny that these fucking neo-Nazis are just like, Hassan Piker, we're going to destroy the white race, bitch. That's what we're here to do. Huh. This guy goes, but he's white, isn't he? I like that the satirical assessment of the right-wing conspiracy of the Great Replacement has, reared his ugly head once again. And not only has it done so, but they're just like, should I say I'm more white than you? I want to say I'm more white than you, Italian man. You fucking meatball. Yeah, so shout out to Adri, who clocked this, by the way. The Fox News guy admitting that they don't have anything but the fuck a song card. Well, we'll start our day there. We'll start with that one before we get to MS now losing their dang minds. Here is Mario Parker on Fox News explaining why it's bad for Republicans to continue to play the Hassan Piker card. Now, by the way, Adri, let me say something. Your descriptions are getting a lot better, which is very cool. Like you frame it well. Look at that. That's good framing. You don't just put the quote in as it is. You leave no room for misinterpretations. You're cooking.
And
But yeah, here, let's take a look.
And well, as Francesca mentioned, you saw Chuck Schumer and other moderate Democrats try to beat that wave back. They ultimately lost, just like they did in places like New York and Colorado as well. What you see, I mean, you saw El Sayed refuse to denounce Piker. Also, Piker has a strong following within the Democratic Party. I mean, there's no other way around that. He's got about 5 million followers on places like YouTube and Twitch. He's solved some of the Democrats' problems around masculinity that they've had over the last few years as well. And speaking to those young men that Trump ended up taking in the 2024 and 2020 election also. So it's something that the party is going to have to navigate. Now, the problem for Republicans here, when I speak with them, is that this is the only card they have to play right now in many places like Michigan and elsewhere. You have to be careful, according to the Republicans that I spoke to, because
if you didn't say America deserved 9/11, Fox wouldn't have shit on you. Are you insane? Yes, they would. What are you talking about? Half of the quotes that they use are shit out of context post October 7. Yeah, Fox News would never be able to find a socialist anti-imperialist with the name Hassan. They'd never be able to negatively frame a guy like that. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, Fox News would never use some that's like totally ridiculous.
because at the end of the day, even with this socialist argument, they're still talking about rent, groceries, the cost of living. So you have to be very careful not to over-torque those arguments.
And Shannon,
Yeah, they kind of briefly admit it. Like that's the meat and potatoes of it all, right? Like every time they're yelling about socialism this, socialism that, what they're kind of yelling at is like the policies that we are representing, the policies that we're advocating for. And of course, those policies are broadly very popular. Those policies are very popular because people are suffering. And they haven't stopped suffering. It's not like people were doing, great in 2016. They were certainly doing better than they are now. But obviously there was this underlying resentment, this anger that people were feeling. And that's precisely the reason why they voted for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton, right? Like something was fundamentally broken that people decided that the resume of Hillary Clinton the resume of Hillary Clinton was not enough for her to be a better candidate as opposed to Donald Trump, who was a baboon, in every sense of the word. I mean, he is a delusional guy. You trending on X? Yeah, because of Elon, brother. Because of Elon. Hassan Piker's old clip resurfaced, destroy the white race remark. The remarks from older live streams, like, it's so funny. They've moved on. They moved on very quickly from like the shit that liberals do to me all the time to just straight up back to like white supremacist agitative propaganda. And it's very funny that they're just, they're hitting the high notes again. What's next? You're going to talk about how I got banned for anti-white racism because I call someone a cracker ass bitch? Is that what's going to happen? The 9/11 one didn't work. So now we're hitting all the best ones. Just wait till they get to this guy is a rich socialist. This kind of stuff doesn't bother me at all because it's objectively ridiculous. It's hilarious. The right is really bad at this stuff, so they will start hyper focusing on stuff nobody cares about, kind of like how their smears of Abdul now include that he's literally running on abolish ICE and Medicare for all. They're so insulated. Yeah, I almost don't want to talk about it too much because the Republicans are a little bit smarter than the liberal consulting class as far as like making decent attack ads, or at least that's what I used to think. But nowadays, I feel like they're not very good at it either because they just don't have anything at their disposal, and they are definitely watching. Abi burayı okuyor musun? Hayır. Okuyamam. Okumayı unuttum abi. I've seen the rich socialist comment today. Yeah, they'll do the rich socialist. That one does LeBron numbers with the stupids though. That one definitely. Like nobody ever goes, "Okay, but don't we want this? Like shouldn't more rich people be like this?" Like, okay, yeah, he's successful. Like, who gives a shit? He's advocating for my values. I would want other fucking rich people to also demand a higher tax burden. Why is your pool so tiny? Let's not do this. Let's not do this. I know people do that. I know people were like, oh, this guy is this guy's a pool at his house. Yeah, John Ossoff's voting record reads like the DSA platform is so funny. I wish. Like they're trying to get our liberal populist John Ossoff to look more radical than he actually is, and it's really funny because like so much of this stuff is designed around like aiding people, even if it's incremental on the liberal side. So like, look at this. Look. DSA platform, universal healthcare at no cost. Called healthcare a human right on CNN. What? I can't believe it. That's unbelievable. You mean to tell me he said healthcare is a human right? Don't these nasty poors know healthcare is not a human right? It's a privilege. Healthcare should be paywalled so that executives, lifeless, faceless, parasitic capital makes more profits off of your demise. Everybody knows that's what's supposed to be the case. It's like, dude, I don't know what to say about this other than like, what do you think the average guy in Georgia is going to think when they see what your position is? This is always what I have advocated for. I feel like my dreams are coming alive in real time. When you run on a platform of pro-Medicare for all, Republicans, inherently reactionary, have to position themselves as against that. It's a gift. And it's a gift that keeps on giving, even to those undeserving of said gift. Let's be real. John Ossoff has never said a word about being pro-Medicare for all, and yet now he gets the benefit from it because these guys are running against the DSA platform, terrifying DSA platform of Everyone deserves healthcare. That's not a terrifying platform at all. Normies are going to look at that and go, you know, I'm an apolitical guy, but this John Ossoff guy seems awesome because I do think healthcare is a human right. I think that I deserve healthcare. Yes, please. Yeah, cancel all student debt. Push Biden for a 50K blanket student debt cancellation. Again, beast mode. Awesome. End mass incarceration and police immunity. 2020 pledge to end. Wait, they didn't even. Wait, hold on. They didn't even say like abolish prisons. Oh, God, I feel like I'm giving them tips. They didn't even say abolish prisons and abolish police. They said end mass incarceration and police immunity. Oh, my God. So the author of this, Mike Collins, like the author of this wants to associate Mike Collins with mass incarceration and police can kill you and stay immune. No police accountability. Really? That's what you want to present your position as? What's going on here? Did Mike Collins hire a bunch of like actual socialists to run his campaign and they're just not so subtly signaling that the DSA platform is awesome? They're doing a better job than the DSA electeds that go on interviews and they give some fairly academic answers to these like questions that maybe don't market the positions to a very broad audience the best way that they could. Like they're doing a better job marketing this to, a mass audience. Free Palestine and end USA No. Free Palestine and end U.S. military aid to Israel? Dog. You're supposed to say John Ossoff is pro-Islamic terrorism. You're not supposed to say John Ossoff is for a free Palestine and ending U.S. aid. What is going on here? What the fuck? Bro, they're doing so bad, I'm giving them pointers. I'm sorry. This is too easy. We got to give them some pointers, man. This is not appropriate. This is, what the fuck? You didn't mention Hamas? No mention of Hamas. You should say John Hamasov. Like it's right there. It's free ball. You should say John Hamasov is pro Hamas. Oh my God, I gotta stop. I gotta stop joking about this. Yeah, it was, they got nothing when they were trying to get him to condemn me. We've never met. I've never done like a campaign for him at all or anything. I've just been like, yeah, I just said he's an interesting candidate. Okay. And they were like, John Ossoff, why won't you burn an effigy of Hassan Hamas Piker? He said you're an interesting candidate. And he was just like, what? And he just moved on. Like they tried to make that into a attack ad. Has he even uttered your name on video? No, he has not. And it's very funny. Like at this stage, they want to turn it into like Hassan said, he likes this guy. Not even he likes this guy, that I just find him to be a unique candidate because I think he's young. I think he's dynamic. He does liberal populism, right? It's not like we're aligned on the issues, right? I mean, he's done a lot of horrible things, like voting for the Lake and Riley Act, right? Like he's done. And then to me, that shows bad instincts. And I know he's in Georgia, so like everyone will give him an allowance there because that's where Lake and Riley was murdered. But even then, I think it was the environment shifted so rapidly, and someone who's smart, someone who wants to run for president should be able to see that in the near future, that kind of vote leaning into the reactionary anti-migrant wave of panic would have looked poorly on his record. Anyway, Senator, don't you think it's concerning that Hassan said you're an interesting candidate? Why won't you address this? No, that's literally what Mike Johnson tried to do. That literally is what Mike Johnson tried. Dude, or not Mike Johnson, Mike Collins. Sorry. That's not a joke. That's not like it seems so far-fetched. It seems so insane. But that's not a joke. That's actually something that happened. Yeah, wrong pedo protector. Not Mike Johnson, Mike Collins. And it's really funny because all of these guys, okay, so here's the thing. Virtually all of the staffers in the Hill on the Republican side are groypers, right? Like Nick Fuentes doesn't have a real audience in the real world where people are just like ride or die, openly white supremacist, openly neo-Nazi, but the problem is a lot of the young Republican staffers, they're all groypers, and this has become a real issue. There was a Politico article about it. I believe, what's that gay guy, Rod Dreher, who's looking like a yassified Will Menaker lately. He talked to Jeremy Boring of the Daily Wire podcast fame about this issue. He was saying like a lot of the young Republicans, a lot of the staffers, they're all groypers. It's like around 50%. And the thing is, that's real. They're like, that's the only real constituency that Nick Fuentes has. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because obviously Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist, a white supremacist. You guys know this, right? So what's funny about it is when these guys turn around and say stuff like, oh my God, you're hanging out with Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is this dangerous, scary, socialist, communist, terrorist, Hamas guy. Every single one of their staffers is an actual neo-Nazi on the Republican side. And that's exactly what happened with Mike Collins. Mike Collins tried to make a big deal out of John Ossoff, out of me saying, like, I think John Ossoff is a unique candidate, an interesting candidate. That's it, a throwaway quote. No connection there whatsoever. And then a week later, it came out that Mike Collins had a white supremacist problem, which is so funny because every single one of these Republicans has a white supremacist issue. Now, obviously, their platform is already white supremacist to begin with, but like, they also have real ties to open white nationalist influencers. Trump-backed Senate candidate Mike Collins' son-in-law, David Allen Scheer II, has shared anti-Semitic conspiracies and Nazi imagery online. And when I say this, it's not like, oh, are they anti-Israel and that's why they're being... No, like they're actual Nazis. Like they're actual anti-Semites. They're actual white nationalists and white supremacists, right? So like, it's so funny when these guys... It's so funny when these guys make a big deal or they try to do this thing where they're like, oh, Hassan is this scary guy. And it's like, dude, your entire fucking campaign staff is like white nationalist Nick Fuentes supporters. You know what I mean? Like there's no moral equivalence between what I do, what I say, what our movement looks like, and what Nick Fuentes is. And the reality of the matter is there's no equivalence between what we do in the eyes of the public either. Like people broadly know me outside of Twitter, outside of mainstream media now as like a progressive guy, which is true because that's what I am. That's what I represent. Most normies in the real world know me as like a bit of a rabble rouser, but a progressive spokesperson nonetheless. I think Jon Stewart said it best when he was talking to John Fetterman, where he said like, well, this guy's just a fiery advocate for a left populist economic agenda, right? or fiery preacher of left populism in this country. And it's true. That is what I am, and that's what most people see me as, unless they have their brains completely fried by, negatively framed clips and stuff. So so for that reason, there's no real like equivalence. One, because socialism, or a higher degree of socialization and like social democracy, is not considered as odious or as toxic as like white supremacy is, and for good reason, because it's not. It's actually, these are really good policies. At the end of the day, we center the working class and their needs at the heart of our movement, whereas these guys on the other side, they want to constantly they want to constantly push this country, and really any country they can, to a far more violent to a far more violent direction. Right? So I think most people see that. Most people recognize that. Most people understand that, like, neo-Nazi stuff is just a bridge too far. They don't fuck with it. So yeah. Lol, these are the people making electability arguments. The whole country, right and left, is uniting against MAGA billionaires on this deeply salient issue. We should oppose the supermajority position, classic populism. Yeah, data centers are good, and we should build a lot more of them. Every major argument against data centers I've seen is very bad. Yeah, a lot of these guys demonstrate their lack of interest in like winning elections, or even caring about the needs of the masses, caring about the needs of workers across the board. They masquerade a pro-corporate agenda as like, well, this is smart technocratic liberalism. This is what we have to do. And it's very funny. Trump just said he agrees with the DSA on abolish the Senate. Shut the fuck up.
Jihadism, it's a friend of mine called up. He said, really, you should use the word jihadist, because that's what's happening. And I'm not sure that anybody, if you take a look at what happens in other countries, I think that's not going to be necessarily the way we want to live. But when you look at the radicalism and the craziness of the candidates and the stupidity of what they're suggesting,
his friend of his is Laura Loomer.
Let's get rid of the Supreme Court. Let's get rid of the presidency. Let's get rid of the Senate. They want to get, sometimes I'd like to get rid of the Senate too, but I don't say it, and I wouldn't do it. But, they want to get rid of the Senate. They want to get rid of, ideally, the House, but they're thinking about maybe keeping the House. Isn't that nice? These are people that have been not successful. They're people that have been, in many cases, failures. They come from other failed countries, and they come here and they tell us how to run our country. They come from places like, I won't mention because I don't want to get myself into a controversy, but they come from countries that are not great. They come from, let's say, as an example, Somalia. They come in and then they tell us how our Constitution, how our Declaration of Independence, how it works. It doesn't work that way, and they're not smart. They have no aptitude. They have nothing going, and they're telling us how to run our country. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that they start off, now I may be wrong, but they start off with a big disadvantage. People don't want to have radical lunatics involved in running our country. Look, and that's what we have. We have people that are saying things that are so great. Now they're denying it.
I'll be honest, I think racism is a very powerful force to win elections. Trump has obviously won twice with that, right? But having said that, I don't think that it is as successful of a talking point as long as the opposing side is actually offering things for everyone.
Well, it's open now. We're taking a lot of shit. It's open now. Look, the only one that has control of the Strait of Hormuz right now is the United States Navy. We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall.
He's
And we
using
let
new
people-
words. He's using infallible. He said aptitude earlier. Wow. He's really on it today. Nice tie, too. He's not shy about showing his hand bruises. I feel like he's feeling himself right now, you know?
For others. Now, little
Sharp
bit,
as a tack, sir.
complex because they will, on occasion, drop a mine, and we find the mines. You know, we've mine swept the entire strait, as you probably maybe heard, maybe you didn't hear, but we control.
Very different Trump than the guy who says old-fashioned word, grocery.
But they're broke.
You
they
know?
have no money.
That's what I'm used to.
Iran's
Maybe he got a
broke,
new,
totally broke.
he got fresh adrenochrome or something. You know what I mean?
Soldiers. They have inflation of.
To your point about the losing battle, watching significant segments of the right self-immolate as they realize affordability is a lost cause, and as such, pivot to pull yourself up by your bootstrap rhetoric is a deserved self-inflicted error. You live in a gerontocracy. What were you expecting? A majority of your own side literally doesn't care about you. They're boomers focused on perpetuating their own existence. What were you expecting? Them to lose out on profit opportunities and make life easy for you? You got played. Yeah, I do think that, like, obviously, I'm an advocate for class politics. As you guys know, I'm a Marxist. I'm a socialist. This is what I believe in. This is what anchors my worldview. Having said that, there is truly a real motivator out there for, you know, anti-boomer sentiment. I will admit that. I do think that anti-boomer sentiment is going to be a salient talking point for our side in general. Like, no disrespect to the boomers, no disrespect to Gen Xers. I love you guys. I know there's some of you in here. I myself am spiritually a boomer, but you know, y'all have all the wealth, man. And I know many of you in this community don't, but like broadly, the boomer class has so much wealth overall, and they're just holding on to it with the death grip. Even when 20-year-old recoils in horror as these people lash out at him, he won't address the underlying issues. Easier to spaz out about immigration magically being the underlying root of all economic evils. Yeah. It's just like,
Well, I put it out today on Truth. I do. I have a response. I put it out today on Truth.
Thank you.
Good response.
Thank you.
The relationship is very good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, press.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, press.
I went to a Seattle DSA fundraising party last night, and many of us were talking about this point regarding boomers. You're so wrong about Gen X, and you need to stop lumping them with boomers. Yeah, I assume you're a Gen Xer, and that's why you're upset about this. But Gen X is probably even worse than the boomer class, if we're being real. Like, generational politics is inherently reactionary. I normally don't participate in it. I don't believe in it. I think class politics is more important. Class politics is everything.